In a small village surrounded by endless wheat fields and dusty old roads, lived a 16-year-old boy named Elias. Most boys his age were confident, strong, bold. But Elias? He spoke so softly that even his own voice seemed afraid to come out. People didn't notice him much, and those who didn't expect anything from him. But one afternoon, something happened that changed the rest of his life. The announcement that shook the village. Every year, the village held a grand event, the King's Messenger Trial. It was a tradition going back many generations. Young boys from different villages were tested to become a royal messenger, someone who carried letters and important messages across long, dangerous routes. It was a prestigious role, a symbol of bravery. That year, for the first time, their village was invited to send one boy. The moment the announcement was made in the town square, excitement spread everywhere. Tall boys, strong boys, confident boys, all stepped forward. Elias stood at the back, invisible as always. But inside something stirred, a whisper, a longing, a small voice that said, "Maybe this is your chance, if only you could believe." But another louder voice drowned it. You can't even speak loudly. How will you face the king's guards?" Elias returned home silently. In the same village lived an old blacksmith named Rowan, a man with silver hair, tired eyes, and a mysterious past. People whispered he once served in the king's army. That evening, Elias walked past Rowan's workshop. The blacksmith looked up and said, "Why do you look like the world just defeated you?" Elias hesitated, then explained everything. How he wanted to try the king's trial, how he wanted to be something more, but his confidence held him prisoner. Rowan listened quietly. Then he smiled, the kind of smile that knew pain, and he said, "Elias, I'll teach you something." The next morning, Elias arrived before sunrise. Rowan placed a small iron rod in his hand and said, "Hit it with a hammer." Elias struck it once. The hammer barely made a dent. Rowan said, "Again." Elias struck it again. Still nothing. Embarrassed, Elias whispered, "I'm not strong enough." I knew this was a mistake. Rowan stepped forward and replied, "Strength was never the lesson." He pointed to the iron. "One strike changes nothing, but hit the same spot 100 times, and you shape the strongest metal." Elias slowly realized what Rowan meant. Then Rowan said something that cut straight into his heart. People aren't born confident, Elias. They are shaped the same way iron is shaped, through repetition. Day after day, Rowan trained him. Not to fight, not to run, but to believe. He made Elias speak loudly, made him stand tall, made him practice walking with purpose, made him repeat sentences until his voice no longer trembled. At first, Elias hated it. Then, slowly, he changed. He didn't become the strongest boy in the village. He didn't become the fastest. But for the first time, he started seeing himself differently. The king's messenger trial was held in a large stone courtyard in the kingdom's capital. Boys from many villages gathered. Some looked like warriors. Others looked like future leaders. Elias looked unsure. But this time, he didn't hide it. He walked forward, remembering Rowan's words. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It is standing tall in spite of it. The trial had 3 tasks. The run, a long-distance run across the rocky ground. Elias wasn't the fastest. He finished in the middle. But he didn't stop, not even when he wanted to. The memory test. Contestants were asked to memorize a long message. Elias closed his eyes, and calmly repeated it, word for word. The judges nodded in approval. The final decision. This last test was always the hardest. Contestants were asked a simple question. Why do you want to be the king's messenger? The strong boys gave strong answers. The confident boys delivered speeches. Then came Elias. He stepped forward. His heart was racing. His palms were sweating. But he remembered Rowan's workshop and the iron rod and the hammer. He said softly, yet firmly, I want to become someone I'm not afraid to look in the mirror at. The courtyard fell silent. The judges whispered to each other, and then the chief judge stood up and said, This one speaks truth. This one understands courage. This one is chosen. Elias couldn't believe it. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the strongest. He wasn't the loudest. But he was chosen because he learned to believe in himself before anyone else did. The message of the story. Self-confidence is not a gift. It is not a talent. It is not something you're born with. It is shaped, like iron under the hammer, again and again and again, until one day, you realize you are stronger than you ever thought possible.